Trump says that he is set to pardon reality TV stars Todd and Julie Chrisley in prison for tax evasion. Their daughter Savannah got a surprise call yesterday from the president with this news.
Your parents are going to be free and clean, and I hope we can do it by tomorrow. Is that okay? We'll try getting it done tomorrow. So
wonderful.
Give them, I don't know them, but give them my regards and wish them a good life. Congratulate your parents.
Congratulations, Savannah.
And Alice had a lot to do with this, and just congratulate your parents. And I hear they're terrific people. This should not have happened. So, and you just take care. Boy, they have good children. You're no longer children, but I'll say it anyway. They have good children, don't they, huh?
The couple became famous for their show Chrisley Knows Best on the USA Network. In 2022, they were sentenced to a combined 19 years in prison for bank fraud and tax evasion. They were also ordered to pay $17.8 million in restitution.
The news comes after Savannah Chrisley spoke at the 2024 Republican National Convention and called on the Trump administration to pardon her parents. Meanwhile, Trump says he will also be pardoning former Virginia Sheriff Scott Jenkins, who was convicted by a jury of federal fraud and bribery charges. Social media users are applauding the Chrisley pardons. Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene writes, "Amazing."
Others aren't as enthusiastic. Republicans against Trump writes, quote, "Another corrupt pardon." Well, this is the trend. If it has to do with shady financial dealings, just know Trump is your guy. He's going to pardon you. That is the trend that we have, as we just named 2 in a row. He doesn't feel like that's a crime. He doesn't really abide by financial laws himself. He likes to file for bankruptcy, even though he has tons of shady financial dealings across the world now while he's president, but likes to absolve himself from those things. And so I think that this has just officially become what it should be expected from the president, even reaching across the aisle and doing it with Eric Adams and saying, look, if you took some money, had a lavish trip, don't worry about it, I got your back. Whoever does that, he understands.
I guess I just have a different view of these kinds of things than maybe you do, and definitely than Niall does. I think he and I have had some of our most contentious arguments about pardon-related things. If they're guilty of tax evasion and fraud, they should have to pay back the money and a penalty and maybe some light prison fee. I don't really think you should spend 12 years in prison for only financial crimes. I mean, you should have to pay a penalty and some amount of jail time, but I don't, for me, prison is for to keep us safe from violent people or people who have some proclivity toward future violence or future criminal behavior that is extreme. I guess I don't care if they sit in prison for 12 years. That's a long time.
I hear you. I think violent criminals should definitely be in prison, but this couple was parading around Atlanta.
I kind of think if you stab someone, you should be in prison
for sure.
12 years.
I agree with that. And right? I think there's levels. They definitely should pay it back. By being pardoned, they're going to be absolved of having to pay that back, which is also problematic. They were parading around Atlanta, living a lavish lifestyle like real estate moguls on their television show.
Well, and living a lavish lifestyle is not a crime.
No, but basically that money came from defrauding banks and tax evasion. They submitted false bank statements and spent the money on luxury cars, designer bags, real estate, and travel instead of real things. Well, let me finish. Mind you, 569 different individuals are now in jail because they spent an average of 3 years after defrauding the COVID loans that you can take. And so if these everyday people have to face jail time because their kid can't have access to Trump and campaign for him and then get a favor, we should let 569 people out of jail if they are getting this favor extended because they're friends of Trump or because their daughter ran around campaigning for Trump during the season. I would agree with that.
Your terms are acceptable. Maybe those people should probably be let go. Again, I would not. I think they should pay back money to. You can't defraud someone and just get away with it. They owe not to society, to the bank. In terms of the bank fraud, in terms of the tax evasion, you have to pay your taxes. It's a pain, and the tax system is really complicated. And
Wesley
sometimes
Snipes went to jail for it. Chrisley's can go to jail for it.
Well, but again, I'm pretty sympathetic.
I want to be equal, and
I want it to be equal too, but I'm pretty sympathetic to people who get ensnared in this kind of things. We should briefly touch on the sheriff. That's a little bit different. He's a public official, and I have a much higher threshold of you should. Public corruption for a public official is very bad.
He was accepting $75,000 in bribes for positions.
Well, the government framed it as bribes. The position was basically an unofficial deputy type thing that will allow you to own a gun. And his argument was this is getting around draconian gun control laws by I'm deputizing. This allows people to own guns. Now, he should not. The government claims that he submitted evidence that he had accepted payments in exchange for that. He said the payments were not explicitly in exchange for that. Looks a little bit complicated. I'm more persuaded on that one that a pardon was not appropriate, but his defense was that he was trying to allow people to exercise their Second Amendment rights, which I support doing, and that he says evidence of his innocence was suppressed. I have no idea whether that's the case or not, but that is the argument.
And he's down with the pay-to-play strategy, and so is Trump. He's taking Qatar jets.
I mean, the play was you have gun rights now, which is a play, I think.
The play is cash for badges, right? He's like, give me a cash, you have access. And I think, that's never a good strategy when we're talking about government officials. Chrisley knows best. We can have more of a debate about what they owe back to these banks. But when somebody's a police officer, when somebody's a sheriff, when somebody is a president, we just want you to hold yourself to a decent standard like you hold the people to. Otherwise, let everyone free that's done similar crimes.
That's fine. But we lock people up for so long. That's a long time in prison. That also costs us money. The cost of incarcerating people who are not going to be out there killing people. If they're going to be out there killing people, yes, then we have to incarcerate them to keep our country safe. But it costs a lot of money to keep people locked up.
But if we want people to pay back their student loans, we need people to pay back money they stole from banks and the tax system.
I agree. They got to pay the money back for sure.
Okay. Coming up, comedian Jon Stewart went scorched earth on his own boss, Paramount Global Chair Sherry Redstone. Hear what he had to say next.